What's up, guys? DrumQuig Podcast coming at you live, episode 17. And I've got a very special guest. The best part about this is that this guy played in a band that I found by accident. He's an amazing drummer. He's one of the few drummers that plays the open hand left hand, which we'll talk about a little bit later. The one and only Rob Houk, formerly of Aqueous and Tand for a little bit, and now just living the dream. So how you doing, Rob?
Living life and living the dream. Thanks for having me, Matt. Appreciate it.
Hey, absolutely, man. So right off the bat, I know, we talked about it a little bit before, the band being on hiatus. I kind of just want to know what you've been doing the last 2 years. What have you been doing to keep yourself busy, and what can we expect from you in the future?
Oh, man. I've kind of just taken definitely touring is taking a back. Just kind of been working more towards on living a comfortable life. I think that's one thing that touring musicians don't get a lot of. I think a lot of the things that, like the human nature things that you absolutely need, like food, shelter, water, money, all the things. It finally starts to catch up, and you decide comfort is nice, and being home is nice, and being with your family is nice. The things that really, really matter to a human being, I've just kind of been focusing on that. I've been focusing on, myself and learning new things, learning new skills, learning new hobbies, and just becoming a different human being, I guess.
Well, that leaves the looming question. I already prepped you for this. I already told you I was going to ask you a good one. When can we get Drumsticks and Flats back again? When are we getting more?
I moved from Buffalo in 2022 back to Cincinnati area. Family's from here. All my friends are here. So really just kind of, the wing scene here is pretty good. So I don't have a good reason not to be doing it. So other than the editing video and making the time to do it, I actually just had wings last night. Literally had wings last night. I was craving them real bad. And there's a spot where I live. It's like 45 minutes north of Hamilton, or of Cincinnati in Hamilton, Ohio. And there's just a good spot that they compare with some of the wings in Buffalo. So that'd probably be my first spot. It's called Wings on Brookwood in Hamilton, Ohio. So if you ever find yourself about 45 minutes north of downtown Cincinnati, I don't know if you would, but if you do, that's the spot to go for wings. So Wings on Brookwood, there's your shout out. I'll let them know that I mentioned them on a podcast too. So small family-owned business. Honestly,
heck yeah,
the entire place looks like a spot in Buffalo. Like it really, I'm like, this is very, very much like a Buffalo bar where I would normally get wings.
Well, and I always know this is a source of contention, but I will be in Cleveland in March.
Okay,
so
if you want to drive like 3.5 hours down and come go get some, I'll take you to the best wing spots in Cincinnati. We can do that. That's no problem. I've got a list.
If I can find a way to do it, like I'm there for work, but
I got a list.
I'll make some exceptions.
That sounds good to me.
Heck yeah. That just changed everything. No, it's so funny because I had watched them years ago, and I just watched all 6 of the episodes again, like right before we did this, just because they're great. Just the comedy factor that's in it, and also the drumsticks being celery was a nice touch.
Yeah, I think that graphic was done by Nick Sonricker, a longtime friend of Aqueous, and he was really good, really good at what he does. So he made a nice little logo for me. So it was much appreciated. I needed it. I'm not a digital graphic designer by any means. So having the good people in place was definitely important.
Well, for sure.
He was way more integral to that than I was just talked. And he made it good. He's very good at editing. Like he's done all of their editing for years. So I think he did it as a hobby, and then he just got really, really, really good at it.
Yeah. That's how all this works. Yeah. Like you just get really, really good at it. I'll let you know when I get there. So
sure. Me too.
We talked, obviously, learning new hobbies. And one of the things, if anyone's followed you on the Instagram, things you were doing for a while, which I don't know if you're still doing, but turning t-shirts into the hats.
Yeah, t-shirts, bed sheets, really anything as long as it was fabric. I still do it, but just new job and lots of other things have just kind of put me in a spot where I'm not really doing as much creative stuff as I'd like to, but that's always an option. I've got plenty of industrial machines to knock out all the hats. So the equipment's there. It's just the finding time to sit and really, really knock out some creative stuff, which I'm probably craving right about now. So it's right around Christmas time. Usually it makes me do it to, people are like, are you making hats? Can I buy one for a gift for somebody? Yeah, I can come out of retirement for that.
Yeah. Well, we'll just put a link to the bio and, all 45 subscribers might hit you up. So.
Sure. Please do. More the merrier. I'm one of those.
I think I'm
one of those subscribers actually. So
you are. Again, it's so cool because again, we talked about, Aqueous being the reason that we were brought together. And I know, we'll talk about it a little bit more, but I wanted to tell the story of how I found you guys. I was going to a local venue to see a band, and I pulled up the calendar for the venue, and I clicked on the wrong date. I clicked on the Saturday instead of a Sunday, and I saw Aqueous, because I'm always going to call it Aqueous.
Potato.
And I looked at it and I went, well, this sounds interesting. And then I listened.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is incredible. The funniest part is that I was going to see a metal band. So literally two completely different music. And I remember saying I was going to go to both, and I just couldn't make it work with the timing or whatever the case was. And it still haunts me to this day because the discography, the music, the energy that came out of that for the next few years, was absolutely brilliant. We talk about, I'm going to say Blackbird instead of Bluebird, the live performance that was in Colorado is probably one of my favorite albums to date.
From that's from the Bluebird in I think 2019.
Yeah.
That was a big day for us. I think we had sold out the venue, and it was like a really big sellout for us. It was like one of our goals, and we were really close at it was like noon, and we got a message from our manager at the time, and he was like, you guys are really close to a sellout. And it was like a beautiful day in Colorado, perfect day in Colorado, beautiful blue skies, and just it felt like the stars were aligning at that moment. And just then we got word, before as we were loading in, oh, we sold it out, and we were like, oh well, we've got the real energy to really put this thing on. So I think it was a special day, not only for the people that were there, but for us too.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to that date, I kind of do want to talk about the upbringing and what you got into drums, and hopefully you're still playing in some capacity anymore, but it sounds like hopefully work didn't completely take it over. But when did you start playing? What got you into that realm of saying, this is what I want to do?
So I think it's pretty much every drummer that makes it at least a profession at one point or another. I think even Gator said it on his episode. He was like, I was just a kid banging on pots and pans, and my parents were like, stop banging on the pots and pans. We'll just get this kid a drum set, and then there's obviously some sort of talent here or some gift that we've got to at least push a little bit. So I was lucky to have, supportive parents that were like, we're going to just get you the drum set, stop banging on mom's pots and pans. I would use her acoustic guitar as a drum set too. So she didn't really like that as much as I did. I thought it sounded great, but not so much for her. So we, got the drum set, started doing the lessons, and I didn't like lessons. I kind of hated them, and I started to learn music by ear, and it was more just being self-taught and kind of just moving through life, just self-teaching myself, learning what I like to hear. Songs I'd hear on the radio, I'd have them stuck in my head, and I'm like, well, that sounds like a cool drum beat, and just try to actually remember and replicate what I was hearing in my head, and learning, and that's what a kick drum is. Oh, that's what that sounds, and then that's the hi-hat. These sounds are the same thing I'm hearing on the recording or what's going on in my head, but I'm learning how to apply them and how my hands would work. Let those things apply to the music I was playing.
And thankful that you had those supportive parents. Thankful for that. I am especially.
Me too.
Because again, from 2 years old, my dad was like, you pick up a drumstick more naturally than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird to say I've never had a drum set because I've never had the capacity to, or I had just was going to annoy the crap out of somebody while having it.
Well,
So
there were definitely, I'm sure for them, plenty of moments of annoyance. Like I remember
yeah,
my sister and her husband at the time, he was living at the house. She had just gotten a job in Texas, and like they were kind of long distancing until he was able to get a job out there. And there were nights where I would like be playing drums at like 9 o'clock, and he's like, dude, I've got to work. Like, please. But also at the same time, he was also like, you're getting way better. And like he like watched a lot of my progression as a kid. He would say, you know, you're sounding like you can play drums now. Like you're sounding like a drummer. Like, and I was probably maybe 8 or 9 at the time. He's like, you're getting better.
whoa,
So like it was I don't know, something that was noticeable, and it was just something I caught on quick to. But I'm sure there were a lot of moments of annoyance because a lot of the time, you know, I had a lot of energy as a kid, classic ADHD, just all over the place. And a lot of the times that's where I would focus a lot of energy and just go bang,
yep.
just go bang on them for a while. It's still, they would like, my parents would be like, just go play the drums because you're pissing us off.
Be like, you know what? Just use that energy over there.
Exactly.
Just go over there.
So, I mean, that also became a good outlet to, you know, focus that wild energy and be able to tame it and put it into the drum kit. And, you know, at the same time, you're learning without even realizing that, oh, I'm actually learning something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I talked about in the last episode, it was so funny because I can read music, but if you showed me music and asked me to read it, I'd be like, oh, I don't know. But if you played it once, I go, oh, okay, I know. I can figure this out now.
Sure.
And it would annoy everyone around me because I'd go, just play it once.
Yeah.
Okay, play it again. All right, I got it. And they're like, but you didn't read the music. I'm like, I don't need to. I know what I need to hit. I know when I need to hit it.
Right.
I was like, let's make it happen.
Right.
So it's so funny how that worked. So obviously from a young age, you started playing drums. Talk about the first time you were in a band. Like, what was the first band experience? Was it the high school band? Was it the middle school band? Was it something out of high school? Like, when did that actually come to fruition?
I think like the first attempt at a band.
There we go. First attempt.
It was me and some buddies, and like every weekend one guy played guitar, and actually two played guitar. It was 2 guitarists and a drummer. So it really doesn't make any sense. But we would just kind of get together every weekend and set the drums up on my patio in the backyard, and we just play outside for a little bit. We were called we had found like a mowers ahead sign like out on the side of the road. So the band was called Mowers Ahead. That was the first band. Perfect. You know, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But we'd get together, and like the only song we knew how to play was Gloria by the Doors. So we'd play it for like 3 hours straight, just the same chord progression over and over and over and over and over again. And like, it was fun for me because I was like, oh, I think it actually taught me something about dynamics. So I would like, you know, we could play this same chord progression one way, and then we could really rock it out for a moment, and then we could bring it down again, and then rock it out again, or like, you know, just trying to figure out what really worked. And I think that was it was a lot of fun, but I think that was my first attempt at a band, but didn't really go anywhere. Mowers Ahead isn't really doing anything anymore.
Damn it. I was looking forward to them playing, man. Come on.
I wish there was like video or picture of any of that, but unfortunately none to be found.
No.
That was before people had cell phone cameras and cell phones, period. So didn't have that.
Yeah. Yeah, and could literally record everything
Maybe
all the time.
High 8 video recording device like had that.
I mean, that's good old vintage camera that doesn't take a battery that works off mechanics alone, which to me is even more impressive.
Right.
And like, why did we ever go away from that?
Money.
Yeah. Yeah. Money.
So
Mowers Ahead, unfortunately, wasn't a you know, the hit sensation you were hoping it was. When did you get to that?
Well, there wasn't really a bad breakup with Mowers Ahead either. We just stopped doing it. It was fine.
You just stopped playing.
Yeah, we just stopped doing it. And we were like, well, we also like started smoking weed, and I don't know if that's too dirty for the podcast, but we were getting into like, we were like teenagers. Like, we were like, well, we'll play a little music, but like, let's go party a little bit instead. So That kind of, well, that's
Hey, it's
kind of how
honesty.
that's kind of how I ended up in the jam band scene, because I started smoking weed, and then you start listening to Dave Matthews Band and Fish, and then you go down that whole rabbit hole of jam bands and the Grateful Dead and all of that. So that it's kind of how I ended up where I'm at now.
It's amazing that you bring up Dave Matthews, because I've been listening to Dave Matthews. I mean, God, 6, 7 years old, I can
Sure.
remember, like, just and listening to Under the Table and Dreaming, and then obviously Crash came out, and we talk about. I think it's been brought up probably on this show more than any other topic. The hot rods that he plays and Say Goodbye at the beginning, I've been listening to for almost 30 years, and I still can't recreate. I still can't keep up with that tempo, and it blows my mind to this day.
Yep. The Carter Beauford Under the Table and Drumming VHS was on heavy.
Yeah.
I wish I could find it, because I would love to throw that on again, but that was on heavy rotation in our household for a very long. That and there was a drum tuning video that I had gotten at Guitar Center when I was like, I got to learn how to tune drums because I want them to sound good. And honestly, that's really how I got my drum set to sound good, because I learned from that video, watching it over and over and over again. There's video of this dude like tightening the heads, and then he stands on it because he was like seating the heads, and he just literally just stands on the drum. Like, you can do that without ruining them. So it was interesting, but I've seated heads that way ever since. A little bit of a hair dryer, and you stand on them, tighten them right back up, stretches it out. Yeah, who would have thought? You won't bust through.
I mean, I might bust through, but that's a different story. Like, I'm just bringing up Carter, and then again, we talked about the open hand, left hand playing. We don't see it as much, but Carter being one of those people who played that way. Like, when did you figure out? Like, are you naturally left-handed, or was that just more comfortable to play?
Ambidextrous left-handed, so I write with my left hand, I throw a ball with my right hand. I do, a little bit of both. And when I learned to play drums, my uncle had set up my drum kit. When I first got my first kit, he had set it up, and he set it up as a right-handed player, so right-hand cross stick player. And I didn't understand that because I really hadn't had lessons yet. So
yeah,
I, started playing with my left hand that way. And actually, Carter Beauford was like the person that was like, he's just like me. I play like that. So it was kind of a huge eye-opening thing to see another player play that way, because you really don't see it too often. And it really showed me like, oh wow, like you can play this way. There's no wrong way to do it. And this actually, if it feels right to play that way, then do it. I actually have a drum student now that I teach every once in a while that I've taught him open-handed, because I'm like, this is going to help you a lot more, I think, in a way to be able to, one, be a little bit more ambidextrous, use both sides of your brain while you're playing, and opens up your right hand to do so much on the kit, while your left hand can keep time and work on the left side of the kit. So you split your kit in half.
What an explanation! First of all, that's literally the way to do it. And it's when I was a kid. So my dad's left-handed. We found out years later, like in the last 3 years, that my biological grandfather, who we never knew, was also left-handed. So obviously ran in the family. Well, I was left-handed until I was about 3, and I had a German babysitter who would smack my hand every time I used my left hand. So I literally became right-handed. So it's funny because I preferred the open hand, but playing it on the right side like a lefty would.
Sure.
And it didn't make any sense to anybody. Like, I'd set up the drum set and they're like, oh, you're left-handed. I'm like,
nope.
They're like, but you're not playing that. It would really confuse everybody.
So that's something I've never seen. There's got to be somebody out there doing it, but I've never seen the left-handed kit, right hand, open hand, which I'd love to see. If there's anybody out there, find me, let me know who you are, because I want to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that's creepy or not, but I want to see,
as drummers,
what that looks like.
Listen, as drummers, we walk up and we go, show me your stick.
Yeah.
Like, what do you got? Like it always feels weird to approach another drummer. And I'll use this past weekend as example. There's a band, Photon, that came through, and their drummer played with Dopapod. And I'm watching him play, and by the end of it, I was just like, my God, dude. He's got 1 tom, 2 floor toms, a snare, and a piccolo. And as soon as I said, I was like, what size is that piccolo? He looked at me and goes, drummer? And I was like, who else is going to know that's a piccolo?
Right. Sure. Or just a music student who's good at guessing.
Yeah. Yeah. Music student or a Dragon Ball Z fan who's completely at the wrong show. And then, like you said, the open hand left, like I watched probably the same day that I reached out to you. I had rewatched the YouTube version of the concert at the Bluebird Theater, and watching how much freedom you did have playing the open hand, and also being able to see things that I couldn't figure out how you were doing them when I listened to it.
Sure.
Because I'm like, how is he moving his hand so quickly for this or doing this? And then I watched it and I went, oh, okay, that solves everything.
The secret's gone.
Yeah. So,
but that really is a great way. I went to so many Dave Matthews Band concerts when I was in high school, literally just to watch Carter play. Like I would try to find the best seats possible so that I could, study and try to, because I think the best way of learning is I'm a really visual learner. So like the best way for me to learn is by watching. And if I see something that I'm like, oh, that's how it's done, I can figure it out pretty quickly. But if you, write it down musically, I'm like, I don't speak that. I can read music, but if I can see it done, it's a lot faster for me.
And that's the ADHD. We don't have time to sit and learn and read. Just show us how to do it.
Throw me to the fire. Throw me in it. Throw me in the fire.
It's nice to hear somebody else having that thing, because it's the same thing. Like I'm not pretending to be some sort of savant, but I'd watch somebody play and I go, because I did, drumline the first year in high school, and then I did marimba the next 4 years. Marimba, xylophone, and I'd be like,
bless you.
I know where the keys are. I know what to hit. I just need the pattern. Like, give me let's go. Or I would listen for something else to happen. I'd be like, all right, the trumpets come in at this part.
Yep.
I know I need to come in at this part.
Right. It's muscle
and it drove
memory.
Everyone else mad.
Muscle memory, music memory, like the things that you can recall are simpler than trying to focus on this piece of paper in front of you.
Yeah.
At least for me.
And going back to the Carter thing, I love that, again, he got brought up. I still put Carter in my top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's always like, it's a hard top 5 because there's so many variables. But the guys over at Flooded Studios who made this jersey make all of Carter's jerseys that he wears.
Okay. Is that jerseys for drummers?
Yeah.
Awesome. That's cool. That's cool stuff.
Yeah.
I almost said it. I almost said the S word. I almost did it. Cool stuff.
It's okay. It's okay. Listen, nobody will ever see this. Nobody will ever know about it unless I tell them. But for some reason, when I talked about you in the last episode, like we brought you up.
Really?
Because I was talking about it and we were kind of having that conversation. And I was like, my God, the way he plays, you're crazy, Ben. Don't know where Ben came from. Don't know who I was talking about. And I literally just cut it out of the episode because I was like, I don't want to sound like terrible when I do. But my brain in that moment just said, say Ben. That works. Like, who are you talking about? Somebody completely different. The guys over at Jerseys for Drummers, Joe is great. There's only 2 of these in the world. I have one and my dad has one. So I wear it to every podcast. I try to wear it to every show because it stands out. It's got my last name on the back, but also it's super comfortable.
Yeah,
so
they look really comfortable.
Yeah. So he's going to be on the show next year. We're going to do a January show, and we're going to talk a little bit more because he got the Portnoy endorsement. There's so much going on. Like, he couldn't tell me about any of that stuff. And obviously, I'm a huge Dream Theater fan. That's not a surprise, but it's so funny to love progressive metal, to love metal, but to really love jam bands and not do drugs.
There's some crossover there, though. I think there's, as much as people say I think jam band gets a bad reputation sometimes.
I agree.
There's a lot of bands that are considered jam bands that don't get the love that they should because they're considered a jam band. Where if they had, a lot of us are jam band fans. And I think that's kind of how we get lumped into there because it's such a small scene and you become a fan of this music and then all of a sudden you're in one of those bands and it's more of a live musicianship and like really seeing how hard you can push yourself on the stage and really make it up as you go. And I think a lot of that people that tend to be like, oh, I don't like jam bands, like they're more so thinking that it's something that it's not. And it's not for everybody. Like it's a lot of notes, and like for me that's like jazz. For me, I find jazz to be just too much. And I'm like,
it's offensive people say it's offensive to the ears.
Just play the right damn notes and not 40 of them till you get to the right note. Just play the right note. But I also I've been in the last couple of years, I've, been playing some gigs where I do have to play jazz, and like I've been learning those chops and learning and understanding it. Now I have a much better found respect for it, but it took me a long time to do so. I still am like, just play the notes. Please just play the records.
Yeah.
But there are no wrong notes though. That's the thing.
It's just there.
It's music. It's music, and there's no real right or wrong way to do it. How are people going to perceive it?
Yeah. Well, and I'm so glad you brought up jazz, because let's talk about A Tiger's Tail.
Okay.
And the stuff you did where you never thought that was going to see the light of day, really. Like, you never really thought that was going to go anywhere. And you recorded that, in 2016, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, like almost.
And it didn't come out until
2025.
5 months ago?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I've had a long relationship with Terry from Coal Mine Records. He owns Plaid Room Record Store here in Loveland, Ohio, which is a little bit east of downtown Cincinnati. And we've known each other. Actually, this was my first like real band that we were like, yeah, let's like be a real band. We were in a hip hop band that also did like improvisational sections, these rap and hip hop songs. So
okay,
we were performing almost every week on Miami University of Ohio's campus, and we had like regular gigs, and like the band actually it crushed. Like we had a great MC, Lewis Rideout, but me and Terry, he was a bassist, and drummers and bassists are always thick and thin. But we really kind of started to have a lot of fun with it, and we realized how well we communicated between the two of us musically. Like even though we wouldn't be talking during a show or anything like that, we would riff off of each other. We'd throw ideas back and forth. He'd be like, hey, play this on the bass drum. And like, we just really worked well together. And a lot of that set the basis for the existence of Coal Mine Records as it is today. So like we were having just kind of, yeah, right. But we would have, he started working on, he's like, why don't I just make a record label and start making music that I like? And his history goes back pretty far, as his dad is a huge vinyl collector. And Terry could tell you the history of, you name a vinyl, he could tell you every single thing about it, every version, every year that it came out, every year it was repressed. Like he's just a wealth of knowledge about records and how they should sound and vintage sounding equipment, and just like the things that he's able to do, and watching his progression from, playing at these bars at Miami University to what he's been able to do and produce, and the bands in his ear that he's able to find it. Like the guy's incredible. Like he's just, I have nothing bad to say about him. He's just an incredible dude to work with. He's been an incredible friend to like just to chat with. He's one of those guys that you can call up randomly out of the blue and you're going to have a 2-hour conversation, and it's going to be
the best kind of people.
Yeah. And like just somebody that has always been just kind of concrete in my life musically. Really, it was just kind of one day he was like, hey, it was more to just like check out if his reel-to-reel was working well. So he was like, hey, just come record some drums. I'm going to play bass along with it, and we'll just record some stuff, focus on some ideas, and we'll just throw some stuff around. And because we had that early communication from the other band, we could just follow each other. Like it was so easy for us to know through body language and like just communicating through sound and body movement and all kinds of different communication that wasn't verbal. We were able to just kind of piece together, little drum tracks that were 3 to 5 minutes long. We did a breakbeat album with a bunch of just beats. Al Evans from Soul Live is on it. There's some other great players on there too. I can't remember offhand right now. I wish I would have had a little heads up. I would have written them all down. There's a lot of great players on that. Oh, I think it's called I can't remember what it's called. I think, but it's a whole album of break beats, and we were like, hopefully some producers get on this, and that was kind of the predecessor to the Tiger's Tail album. But really, we're just trying to see how good the sound with different mic setups, different ways we could make the reel-to-reel sound good. And he's always wanted that vintage crunch stuff that you really can't replicate on digital media. So pretty much everything still comes reel-to-reel, and then he takes that into digital now. I could be explaining that completely wrong. He'd be able to tell you, but just an incredible mind of how things should sound, and just an incredible ear of what he knows is going to be successful. So that, 10 years later, he sent me a message one day. He's like, what do you think of like putting all those drum tracks on an album? I've already got 6 songs done. And I was like, well, I guess you might as well finish the album now. Done. And then like 2 weeks later, he's like, it's done. And I was like, well, dude, what? I just thought you would tell me like a year from now.
Yeah, right.
So that album got put together, and this year we released it, and it's gotten great reviews, great response, and it's kind of cool to see something that you never thought, like you said, would see the light of day to come to fruition and be. I think it turned out pretty darn good.
Yeah, and I mean, hopefully, I didn't do that much research in it. I've just been listening to it. Is it on a physical medium? Like, is there any plans for him to do it, or is it all streaming? Given his love of vinyl,
the album,
the Tiger's Tail, yeah,
it is on vinyl. I believe there's digital, like you can find it on Spotify, Apple Music, all of that. But there are physical copies. I don't know if they're CDs. I don't think we press CDs, so it's only vinyl or through streaming service, Bandcamp.
There's a stack of vinyl back there.
Nice.
I have to grab this now because you said he could tell you anything. I want to see if he could tell us about this. Like, he has to show this. I bought this album for one reason. We just finished watching Shogun.
Okay.
And I walked into the store and I find this.
That's sweet.
I was like, I don't even know anything about this band. I haven't even listened to it yet. I've only had it for a couple of days. But I'm like, I want to know more about this and how they just decided this would be the album art for this particular album.
I think that a lot of the way that music used to be presented to us was such a tangible thing, something you could hold in your hand, something you could open up the sleeve and read about it, like read who the people are in the band. And like now that everything's digital, we've strayed away from that. But like album art was like one of the main sellers. Like, this is the art. Like, it's literal art, and it's, it may be pressed on hundreds of thousands of copies, but this piece of art is the thing that's supposed to catch your eye and draw you, which obviously that worked. So that caught your eye, and you said, wow, this tangible piece of art looks so cool that I want to buy it. And I don't even know anything about it, but I'm going to listen to it because this drew me into it so much. So like, I think that, as vinyl's obviously been making a comeback for years, and I think that's something it's happening because people have been missing that tangible, being able to have that intimate moment with the art. And while you're listening to the album, you're through the album notes, you're reading, you're researching, you're experiencing it, as opposed to just having it happen in your ears and hoping for the best.
Yeah. And it's funny that you said that, because I did that this year with Dream Theater coming out, the first album with Portnoy being back after 15 years. It came on Spotify and I refused to listen to it because I said, I heard the single. I said, but the first thing I want to hear is on vinyl. Like, I want to hear the crackle. I want to hear that imperfection that's there that we've still refined, but I wanted to hear it in its, what I would consider, the natural state at this point.
It's like a warm
I think
hug,
you're right.
Like a warm audio hug. And
listen, when CDs stopped playing and like the thing would raise up and they would stop, like, you knew it was over. Like, now it just plays another song.
Yeah. Right. And I was born in 1985, so I was there, like I was there. But
I was there.
But like I had older family members that had records, and then tapes, and then CDs came into play, and those were all still tangible things. And like I remember looking through CD album notes and like just like being able to experience all those things, and I thought it was such a cool thing. And when I started to really understand, like, albums exist because this is a whole piece, it's an entire piece of work that this artist took so much time to create and make a story of how they want this art to be perceived. When I started understanding that, I think that's where I really gained such a huge appreciation for music in general. Hopefully we're getting some of that back with the resurgence of vinyl, and I think we're seeing more kids buy like cassette tapes now, which is crazy. Like, that's crazy to me. I'm like, why are you buying cassette tapes? They're like, it sounds good. Does it? I guess it's not. It does though. I think cassette tapes sound better than CD audio. That's for sure, because they've still got a little bit of warmth to them. They still have that analog that analog thing that you can't capture with digital.
Because you didn't have a choice. You had to make it sound good.
Right.
Like you couldn't do a shitty job and then go back and be like, let me fix this, let me fix this, let me fix it. You got what you got.
Yeah.
And that changed everything. And I will say one of the biggest resurgence in vinyl that I saw from the community wise was the metal community.
Really?
Because when they started putting a lot of stuff on vinyl with like colored vinyl, like I've got probably 24 different metal albums. Like I have 2 that are behind me. It's literally the same album, but one's a blue vinyl and one's a red vinyl.
Okay.
And I bought them both because I was like, same album. Like let's do it. So
yeah.
Shout out to Haste Today, one of those influential bands. But like you talk about the album art, and the one that comes to mind that I'm never gonna forget, and I'll send you the cover afterwards, and everybody can look it up. But A Plea for Purging had an album, and it was just like a wolf's head on a spike, and it was really graphic looking. But it's to this day, never forget it.
I mean,
I'll never forget
that's
it.
as metal as it gets.
Yeah. And so Impending Doom has a lot of those where it's just like you look at the cover and you're like, my God, but you're right. Like we've gotten to that stage where look at the 80s, look at the 90s. A lot of the album art wasn't meant to draw you in the same way vinyl was.
Mm-hmm.
It was what's inside or what the music sounded like. And we'll go to the safest bet of all, Metallica's Black Album. Most people didn't even know there was a snake on it for years because you didn't see it in the corner.
Right. I remember looking at that CD at one point and being like, oh, there's a snake on there. I had no idea.
I bought that album when I was 13. It was the first CD I ever bought.
Nice.
And it's so funny to think about how far music has come since then and how far, like I thought Lars was the greatest drummer on earth.
Sure.
I still put him in a top 10, and also just saw them in June and he crushed it. So I'm like, still doing it after all this time.
Yeah. I remember I have a funny Metallica story, actually. It's really, really kind of irrelevant, but it kind of fits. I just remember being at, I think Blockbuster had CDs at one point, which is
oh my God.
Yeah. So there was like a music section, and like we were buying a CD, and I was between like a Metallica album and something else. I don't remember, but I was like, well, these songs are longer, so this is more like, I remember like it being a value choice. So like this song's they've got a 9-minute song, an 11-minute song, a 8-minute song. This album only has 3-minute songs. I'm gonna get this one. I think it was the Injustice for All, and then I ended up getting Injustice for All, and then Injustice for All is an incredible Metallica album. So by accident, I made a great choice, but it was a value choice, kids, man.
Listen, I'm not much younger than you. So like Injustice for All came out the year I was born. So literally one of the best albums to date.
What was that, 94?
And it's funny that Injustice for All was 88.
Was it? Oh my God. Wow.
So Metallica to date is the only band that, other than the last 2 albums, I can name every album in order, the year they came out. I don't know why that's still stuck in my head. Like I really it's just one of those things, but it's like Kill 'Em All in 83, Ride the Lightning in 84, Master of Puppets 86, and Justice for All in 88, Black Album in 91. And then it's like Load was, I want to say Load was 94, Reload was 95, the Garage album was 98 along with the S&M. Well, I could literally keep going, but
you're a fan. You're a real fan.
Yeah.
That's how you know. That's how you know you're a real fan, because you know all those facts.
I don't think I've ever done that on the show, so everybody's going to be like, what the heck is he talking about?
I'm with you. I get it. I'm with you.
So I'd be remiss, and it's, we started the conversation, but as far as your influences, and you had touched on a jam band comment that I wanted to touch on later, but who is your influences growing up, and how has that changed as you started to play more and more and kind of be in that jam band scene for a while and, be a part of, that community? Like, did your influences change as you were a part of that?
I started getting into Fish in like probably 8th grade. Dave Matthews Band was like 6th or 7th grade for me. And then I remember in like 9th grade, Fish was coming to Cincinnati, and I was like, I'm going to go to that. But I had no idea of the entire scene. So my dad dropped me and a friend off at Fish in Cincinnati, December 3rd, 1999. And we walked into this like the arena, and I was like, what what is this? And like I like sit down next to these dudes and they're like, hey, you want to hit this pipe? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, what is happening? All these people are smoking weed around me, and I don't know if that's allowed. And like the person I'm also in the same boat, no clue. And like at set break, she turns to me and she's like, I wish they would play songs with more words and shorter songs. So I was like, yeah, this isn't really that vibe. But like I understood the music, but I didn't understand the scene and the community that came with it. And from there, I was like, this is actually pretty cool because, you know, me and my friends from Mowers Ahead were starting to smoke weed at that time. So we're all like, I'm like,
Nice callback.
I was like,
the nice callback there.
God, you guys have got to go to one of these with me and we're going to have a great time. So that kind of started the whole ball rolling into being in the scene. And like, eventually I got to a point where I was like, I should maybe be in one of these bands. This seems like a fun thing to do. The community is great. The music is what I'm into. This seems like a great fit for me. And like it took a while to like find that avenue, but the hip hop band actually was a big bridge for that gap that I was looking for because we started playing more improv. We'd play the song and Lewis, the MC, he would rap and then he'd be like, yeah, band, take it out for a minute. And like we would be doing like, you know, 20-minute versions of songs and like we wouldn't even realize we'd been playing the song for 20 minutes and like the crowd would be eating it up because like nobody's ever seen a hip hop jam band before. So we were just doing it. And I think I cut a lot of teeth. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but I cut my teeth in a lot of improvisation and like learning how to communicate with each other through music. So I think that kind of helped me understand how to do it. And then I started seeing other bands. I remember like getting into Dopapod and what else? Humphreys McGee was like top tier for me. Chris Myers is, you know, the guy.
Yeah.
I kind of moved from Carter Beauford to Chris Myers. I was fortunate enough, like I think I was probably in my 20s and somehow I had a conversation with Chris in person. And I think it was like either after an Humphreys show or there was some situation where I saw Chris and I was like, I'm going to go talk to him. And I talked to him I talked to him for like 20 minutes and he's like, yeah, I give lessons here in Chicago. I was like, well, I live in Cincinnati. And he's like, well, if you're ever up here, you know, set something up. And I was like, done deal. So set up, I was like, yeah, I'll do a couple lessons with Chris Myers. Nope. Sure. Absolutely. And, you know, took that opportunity. And I think that helped bridge another gap for me. And now I do jam band stuff.
Yeah. Something you said about the jam band and getting the bad rap, but the thing about what makes the jam band is the live experience, pushing yourself, seeing what you're capable of, and like pushing those limits. And I realized Dream Theater and Dave Matthews got me there because you would take a 5-minute song, a 6-minute song, and on the album, it's 19 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
How?
I remember looking at it and going, how? And then it's just 12 minutes of just going ham.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, Carter's always going to be up there. It's so funny you brought up that the VHS because I remember watching that with my dad. Like, I remember watching that and being like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's good. Like,
and he was able to explain it.
Yeah.
And it kind of made him seem a little bit more human in what he was doing. Like, okay, anybody can do this, but nobody can do it like Carter can.
Yeah, no, it's like watching Virgil Donati explain something.
Sure.
And they're like, I was like, oh, God, I was like 12 years old. We saw Virgil at a drum clinic. And somebody asked him like how he got so good. He was like, you know, I just practice like 18, 19 hours a day. We were like, sorry, what?
Yeah, like that's a long time.
Like, yeah, I mean, I guess if you were able to dedicate the craft, like, go for it, man. But thank you. Like, for this whole talk, like, I know we swerved real quick at the beginning. I'm still thinking about chicken wings. I'm not even gonna lie. Like,
I'm still thinking about chicken wings. I think I've been pretty hungry all day. It's been a long day, but
yeah. Well, listen, I had all the jokes about the mustache and everything, and then COVID, destroyed facial hair, and this was a lot less then too, because it was like trying to breathe in a mask was not fun.
Yeah.
So I can imagine that being there. I didn't even get to make my John L. Sullivan jokes or all that stuff, like handlebar mustaches. So, and thanks COVID, you took another one.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Thanks, COVID.
But
COVID did a lot of damage.
yeah,
that's for another podcast.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I definitely want to have you back on the show. I think just that talk of how you got to where you are and the different take you have on all of this. Everybody says, oh, it's the same thing. It's not the same thing. You had a different approach. You had a different energy that came to this. And I'm thankful for Aqueous for introducing me to you, because without them, I wouldn't know who you are. I wouldn't have been introduced. I never got to see Mowers Ahead. I wasn't around for that.
Not many people did. I think all the neighbors that lived around there, most of them have moved. There's one lady actually that still lives around there. So she actually kind of always hated me. So I was always like, my Frisbee balls were always flying in her backyard into her garden, and I was always hopping the fence into her garden. She did not like that, but she was integral to the Mowers Ahead legacy.
Yeah.
She at least tolerated it. Although we did
be thankful to that neighbor.
Some neighbors would stop by sometimes because they could always hear me playing drums inside the house, like outside the house, because I'm a loud drummer. But people would stop by and they're like, "Oh, you guys sounded really good for some 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds. You guys sounded pretty good." So we at least didn't suck to the point where people were like, "Oh God, please just kill us right now."
Yeah, please.
Please.
Even though you're playing the Doors over and over and over again. Yeah.
Gloria's got a good chord progression.
Spoken like a true musician. Like a real. So a couple shout outs I want to give. Main Music down in South Florida. It was a family owned business that I met. Super amazing people. And I talked about it on one of the other shows. Literally met them when I went to see Dream Theater in September. They had an extra front row ticket, so I got to go sit with them up there and just enjoy the show and have a blast. So super shout out to, if anyone's ever in South Florida, that's your music store. That's where you need to go. Obviously, Jerseys for Drummer, making these amazing jerseys, which this is, established 2024. It's about to be 2026. I already told them I'd be getting a new one, so look for that to be coming soon. We are working on more merch for the show. I'm trying to kind of ramp it up so that we're a little bit more frequent. And just having, people like yourself, like Gator, being on the show,
Gator's the man. Also, shout out to Gator. Shout out to Gator.
If not for you guys, I don't think I would have found Pigeons, because that's what Spotify did. It literally led me down that road. And getting into all, everything that's happening, and Heavy Pets playing, this weekend, which this show probably won't come out by this weekend, but their 20th anniversary, and just getting to be a part of a different music scene.
Yeah.
It really is, metal is its own scene, punk is its own scene. And I don't want to call it the jam band scene. I don't want to lump it into that, but that energy.
Yeah.
We're going to have to figure out a new name for it, a new name for the genre to get it going.
I think there's the thing that can be said about all of those things is that every genre of music has people who are passionate about it. And without the people who are passionate about it, sorry, I'm still at work.
No, it's fine. Literally 20 minutes ago, I told you the cops were outside. I heard the megaphones going by. I was like, do I need to be worried right now?
We need you to come out. But I think, it's reciprocal. And the people who love it for various reasons. You love metal for various reasons. Jam band people love jam bands for various reasons. And a lot of it isn't necessarily the music, it's the community that follows the music. And I think that
absolutely.
I think that's one of the most beautiful things about being a musician and being an artist is, once you have your tribe or the people that care about what you do, it makes you want to do it more. Because without those people, there's really no reason to do it. Because you want people to, as an artist, you want people to accept your art and appreciate it. And, even if there's just one person that does it, it gives you, as an artist, meaning and a will to continue to do it. And I think that's where the crossover happens with every music genre, is that it's the people that appreciate what you do.
I don't think we could top that. That speech right there, you might as well been up on a podium, man. That was beautiful.
I'm full of them. I'm full of them. I got sound bites for days.
Well, I'm going to put that to the test, but Man, just take this moment to, tell people, what's going on with you. I know you mentioned the hats. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna say it on the podcast. I want one of the hats.
Hey, come
I don't know what, but
through.
let's
You ever go to eBay is a fantastic resource for finding like things from your childhood that like a shirt from your childhood that you can't wear.
yeah.
The fabric's fabric. So if it's fabric, it can be a hat. Like if there because I did the what were they? The wrestling sheets that I
Oh yeah.
found those, and
Oh, the macho sheets,
those were
yeah.
all, those were my childhood. Like those wrestlers were the people that I was like, I thought they were the kings of the world. Little did I know that they were just soap opera actors that were really in good shape. But like, those things that, stick with you, they stick with you forever. Like the nostalgia is a thing of the past, as they say. And but they're a thing of the past, but they're things that connect you to special memories. Like I remember going to see a WWF thing with my dad, and like I will never forget that. Just those
Same.
little things that tie into who make you who you are today, and being able to, put a bow around that, tie those things together is, it's a special thing to be able to do.
Yeah. Dude, I met Sting like 2 months ago. I was like, yeah.
Nice.
I was like, I had all these things to say. I walked up and I walked away, and I was like, I didn't say anything, did I? No, you did not.
Yeah, it's fine.
I just went, hi.
It's Sting. He didn't care.
I met Nash, Kevin Nash too, and Kevin Nash, I gotta say, is one of the nicest dudes
That's awesome
on the planet, and that was really cool to see that and have that interaction there. But we could talk wrestling. That's a whole nother show. Like I have a whole nother podcast for that, so we could talk anything we want.
Awesome.
Rob, thank you so much, man. Like this truly was an honor to have you on the show. Like I said, being a fan of your playing, your energy, and the style that you bring, and the adaptability that you brought to not only playing in the band and then playing with Tand and like changing it up completely. But I don't want to say not at all, but you know what I mean? Like still in that scene
Sure.
shows I don't like to say just the word talent, but that's what it is. It shows the talent and the love and appreciation you have for the music and the music scene and the people who love the music.
Thanks. No, thank you,
So
man.
much.
It's an honor to have a chat with you for sure. It's always reassuring, as an artist, and like having that experience with somebody who actually cares, and to be able to have that conversation about, all these random things that we just talked about that, make us who we are. And I think that's, we're all human beings, and we all want connection, and all we want is to be heard sometimes. And like to be able to have that conversation with each other, I think it's more special than anything.
Absolutely. Well, on behalf of myself, Dad, and the DrumQuig Podcast, we thank you. I really appreciate it, man. Like this was a big one, so I'm really thankful. So stick around for a few minutes afterwards. We'll get everything uploaded, and thanks, man.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed the show, please